Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got another very interesting combination to try out with a shell that's pretty new to the market, but in the previous time or two that we've tested it, it's been pretty mediocre, to be honest with you. I don't know that these shells are worth it as of right now anyway. We still need to do more testing with them and see, but we haven't tried this variant of them yet, so we'll see what happens. But for the shells I've got today, I picked up some of the new Verdict Juror shells. These ones are a 20 gauge, 3-inch, 1.5 ounce payload of lead 5s, moving about 1125 feet per second. We've tested Verdict shells before, and so have a lot of other people, especially with their TSS stuff. But with the price of TSS this year, Verdict introduced these new Juror lead loads, but they're still between $25 and $30 a box, so $5 to $6 a round, and you only get 5 in a box. So essentially, they are still double the price of something like what a Longbeard XR shell would be. They are copper plated, they do have full length wads, but I don't think they have any buffer material. And for $5 or $6 a shell, I would hope that they would have, but I don't believe that's the case, and that might be their big downfall. Lead in a 20 gauge in particular is already on the border for any shots longer than 30 yards or so, but we're gonna try them and see what they're capable of, because they may still surprise us. For the setup we're gonna run them in, I brought out my Stevens 301 20 gauge. It's got a 26-inch barrel on it, and we're gonna start with the Patternmaster Code Black Turkey. It's a 565 constriction, and we know this is a good performing choke, so I know what to expect from this combo, and we'll see how the shells can actually fit into the equation. And we've got a Vector Frenzy red dot up on top too, for those curious. So we know the setup is good. It's gonna be up to the shells to perform. So as for today's test, we're running it the same standard way that we always do. I've got the turkey target set up down there at 40 yards and the chrono so we can get our velocity. So we'll get you guys a view of that target, take our shot, and see if the 20 gauge Verdict Juror lead loads are actually halfway decent, or if they're probably still just not worth the price themselves. All right, that shell gave us 1140 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1125, so we are a little bit over that claim, but still, mid 1100s is very much the normal for a lead load in 20 gauge, so nothing too special to see here. But did they actually give us a usable 40-yard pattern or not? Let's go check it out and see. All right, well, now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and it is not looking good, that's for sure. Yes, we do indeed have a dead turkey at 40 yards. We got one right through the eyeball there, and another one or two down the spine that would have done the job, along with completely peppering your meat full of pellets there as well. So is it technically capable of taking a bird at 40 yards? Sure, but the fact of the matter is, this isn't a good turkey pattern. Even for lead in a 20 gauge, you can just go get a basic Winchester double X load or Remington Nitro turkey load or anything like that for half the price per shell, and it's going to outperform this. This is just kind of shot all over the board, and it's not even. We don't have any kind of core to it at all. It's just thrown all over the place. Now, I guess we might have favored a touch low, maybe. Looks like the bottom half of the paper is hotter than the top half, but we covered the entire thing. But if I bring you guys in here, you can see it's little hot pockets and then a void, and another little hotter pocket and then a bigger void, and it's just kind of all over the place. It's definitely thin and straggly up here at the top as well. It's just not a good turkey pattern overall. It's not what I would want to use, and definitely not to 40 yards. Now, sure, if you're going to shoot birds at 25 yards or so, that's absolutely going to do the job. And even out to 40 yards, like I mentioned a minute ago, it is capable enough of working, but I wouldn't trust it anyway. And even then, you would put a ton of pellets in your meat, and if there's any other birds close to them, you're going to run a serious potential of hitting them as well, which is not exactly what you want. So this is what I was concerned with coming into it here. 20 gauge lead loads in general can be finicky. Yeah, for sure. We've definitely seen that. But for the price, they really should have some buffer material. They've got the wad, and it's a good one too. We'll look at that here in a second. And they've got the plating, but why not put at least a little bit of buffer in them? If you can bring your pattern in a little bit more than that by doing that simple step, why would you not? So far anyway, I just don't think these shells are worth it. I think they had a decent amount of hype around them for people that were paying attention to what Verdict was doing, and they're just going to kind of fall flat on their face. I think they need to go back to the drawing board and just tweak a few things on these to really make them worth it, because even the 12 gauge ones are the same way. So not what I was hoping to see, but kind of what I was expecting to see, and there's really not even much else to talk about with that kind of pattern. It's all over the place, and what you see is what you get. So we still have a few more of those shells to test. We're going to put them through a few different chokes and see what happens. Maybe they might surprise us, but I have my doubts judging by this and what I've seen from the other ones. And here's the wad from that shell. Now, I am not a hand loader or reloader, but I believe this sure does look like one of those Ballistic Products low bore contact wads, and they're pretty recognizable by the ribs that you have down the outside of the pedals. So if indeed it is one of those, and it does look like it's one, from my experience anyway, these wads have a fantastic reputation. I don't think I've ever shot a shell that didn't perform well when it had one of these wads in it. So how do you manage to load a disappointing load in that kind of a wad? I don't know. You can see we had one pedal open a little farther than the rest, but that's not going to be detrimental to our pattern, at least not that bad for sure. But overall, nothing that I'm really too worried about seeing here. Any little bit of residue you see down in there is actually just tiny flakes of the copper plating that's coming off of those pellets as well. So the wad looks just fine. Nothing out of the ordinary here. The shells just did not perform, that's for sure. Alright y'all, well, what do you think about that result right there? Unfortunately, it pretty much speaks for itself. Lead in a 20 gauge can definitely do the job at 40 for sure. There are a few loads out there that really do perform well out at longer ranges. But even the cheap basic field loads up into the cheaper Walmart store shelf turkey loads, you know, the Double X or the Remington Nitro Turkey or anything like that, is gonna outperform that. So really, these shells just don't seem to be worth it. They're just not loaded the way I hope they were, and I'm not affiliated with Verdict in any way, shape, or form, so I'm not afraid to tell you guys if a shell sucks, and so far, these are not one that I would waste money on. If that's all you can get, sure, they would still work, but they're not going to be a shell that I would ever go out and try and find, that's for sure. But that's why we test different things and see what happens, because this is a new load to the market, and maybe if they get enough people showing that they're really disappointing, maybe they'll tweak the load and actually fix it a little bit. It's always possible anyway, but I guess we'll see what happens down the line. Either way, leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the new Juror lead loads, and if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Is this a combo you would use? Or are you kind of like me, where they're just not worth it? If you're going to shoot a lead load in a 20 gauge, there are a ton of other options out there, and you'd much rather just go with one of those. And what other choke combos do you want to see me run these shells through? I still have a handful of them left that we're going to be testing, but what chokes and what constrictions might you guys want to see me run? Maybe we'll find another combo. I doubt it, but you can leave all your thoughts down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.